How can we help you to go home?
그래서
How can we help you to go home?
I think buy one ticket from here to Peking, Peking to Lhasa. But then the reality more complicated. So of course, now I think this is the, since as I mentioned earlier, the Tibetans really put a lot of hopes and trust on me. I consider myself here as a free spokesman for Tibetan people. So, last more than 45 years, my physical outside Tibet, but the Tibetan people there recognize my presence outside is something useful to them. So now things, the situation inside Tibet, once situation begin to change, and the opportunity to serve Tibetan people, as well as Chinese people, Chinese brothers, sisters, as a Buddhist monk, no differences, whether Chinese, whether Tibetan, whether Indian, whether European, whether African, no differences. So, because they trust me, so suddenly I have moral responsibility to serve them, but need certain degree of freedom. Without that, not much useful. So now is the Tibet situation. If you look Tibet situation today locally, then very, very difficult. Sometimes almost looks hopeless. But Tibet is now part of sort of People's Republic of China. Tibet controlled by People's Republic of China. Now China, People's Republic of China is part of Asia, part of the world. And not only part of the world, but also important part of the world. So China is changing. Today's China, compared 20, 30 years ago, much changed. Still in the full speed of change, or process of change. So, judging from broader sort of broader picture, then there is real hope. Particularly my approach regarding solution of Tibet problem. My approach is mutually agreeable solution, not separation, not independence, but remain within the People's Republic of China and should have meaningful self-role or autonomy, which actually in Chinese constitution provided. So meaningful implementation of the autonomy, that's my dream. I think that's very possible. Now large number of Chinese people, especially among the intellectuals and the thinkers, and even some artists, and also among the businessmen, among the Chinese, now more and more people now showing genuine, I think, understanding about Tibetan problem and showing genuine concern. They begin to realize the proper solution of Tibetan issue is interest of People's Republic of China as a whole. I think obviously now that huge country, most populated nation, now this moment, now as they are passing through what's a transition period. This transition must be peaceful, smooth, with stability. If some dramatic sort of situation, dramatic way, if something total sort of, a change or something happen, then I think too much chaos situation may happen, even bloodshed. That's nobody's interest. So smooth transition is good for everyone. Therefore, if you use common sense, I think my approach, at least for Tibet issue, is helpful to peaceful, stable sort of transition. This implication, Hong Kong people, and also East Pakistan or Xinjiang people, and some other sort of ethnic people, usually is physically controlled, tight, but mentally not so happy. So I think all these problems, I think Tibetan, I'd say was wisely handled the Tibetan issue, the implication reach a larger area. Ultimately, the Taiwan issue also related. So, and also the relation with India. So therefore, my approach, not sort of the disintegration of people from China, but more unite, more stable from within, not from sort of, control. So that's my way of approach. So therefore, I think only question of time. I think things will change. But meantime, I appreciate all our friends and supporters in many places of the world are really showing your serious concern about us. So showing your deep sort of sympathy and concern and to do something, not only just word, but want to do something, practical action. So I very much appreciate. We need your help. Thank you.